What's up, guys? We are doing the final Q&A for the hormone program. Let me spotlight this so everyone can see our lovely, lovely faces. We're going to do the questions that we've got here. And if any of you guys have got any questions, of course, drop them in the chat or unmute and we'll answer them as best as possible. We've had quite a few today.
Yeah.
We're going to try and get through these as best as possible. But if anything doesn't make sense or you need clarification, of course, just let us know. All right, let's start from the top then.
Right there.
Oh, actually, can I, just before we start, I also want to congratulate Holly. Nice work, Holly. Holly got accepted for a job that she's been panicking, possible redundancy coming up. So she's finally landed a job and she's still going to keep looking for, the one. But I just wanted to congratulate her on getting it.
Thanks, Faye.
You're welcome. Okay, now we can start.
So Naomi said, how does having the Mirena coil affect your hormones?
So the Mirena coil is like the contraceptive coil. Let me just check in here. There you go. Cool. Yeah. So the Mirena coil is a contraceptive coil, and it is, from what I believe, is the progesterone coil. So it only gives progesterone, same as the mini pill, and then the normal pill, the combined, will be the estrogen and the progesterone. So funny enough, Cam and I were talking about this yesterday, weren't we? And Cam was saying, well, if a woman is on the pill and her body isn't actually producing eggs and releasing eggs and all that kind of stuff, is it possible that people can get PMS? And I was like, to be honest, I think a lot of it is, oh, I'm on my period, as soon as you see blood, it's like, oh, even though it's premenstrual syndrome, people are always like, wait until you see blood, and then they're like, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the whole world. But I said, but when you've got the hormones being pumped into your body, you're not actually doing all the things to have the hormone imbalance. So we did some digging, and it is possible that people could get PMS, but this is because if you're already low on progesterone or low on estrogen, whatever, when you add in this amount of hormones to your body, you might already be overproducing one and underproducing another. So it might amplify, I guess the word is, it might amplify PMS in PMS. Whereas for other people, it might balance it out. So it's all very individualized. With the progesterone only, typically it will, so Mirena coil is the extra progesterone. So progesterone is the really cool, calm hormone. So it makes us feel cool and calm. So if you imagine estrogen and progesterone as two sisters, estrogen is like wild, bit of a risk taker, like that's how you are in the first part of your cycle. And then like towards the second, you're going ready to party and progesterone comes in, is like, come on girl, let's just chill, end of the party, let's just calm the F down and let's just chill. And then at the end of your cycle, when everything goes to shit, like when they both drop, that's when it's like, oh my God, that's when it feels like hell. So the progesterone only pill is going to push your progesterone up, obviously. But if you're already progesterone dominant and low on estrogen, that's going to amplify it, right? So, but if you're estrogen dominant and low progesterone, that's going to bump it up. So it all depends where your baseline is, and then your hormones are going to be affected by the hormones they put in your body. I think the implant is also progesterone only, as far as I'm aware. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Fab. Little analogy there for you. Two sisters.
So we've got Rachel's question next. Can weightlifting cause damage / put pressure on your pelvic floor and therefore increase pelvic floor issues like incontinence? I'm thinking particularly post-pregnancy, while there's still relaxing in the body and hormones are all over the show.
I completely forgot about the hormone relaxin. I just, just because there's so many in there, there's over 50. But I just forgot about it. And then it made me laugh because obviously relaxin is the hormone and that's what it does. It just like, relaxes the body and muscles. Ligaments are more stretchy, tendons are more stretchy. So do you understand or shall I? Let me just keep this here so I can refer back to it. So can a weightlifting cause damage or put pressure on your pelvic floor? Yes. Just like it can put pressure and damage your back, your arms, your glutes, your calves, like whatever. So the pelvic floor is basically like a trampoline that holds all of your pelvic region organs in place, basically, right? So if you imagine this like a trampoline, every time you like squat or jump or bounce or anything, it's like putting like a little bit of pressure on it. Now, if you continue to do that and you're not doing it properly, lifting weights, whatever, if you're not doing it properly, that's going to make it like drop basically, and then you're more likely to have these issues. But if you're doing things properly, then it shouldn't. And in fact, pre-pregnancy or during pregnancy, if you're weightlifting, that will actually decrease the chance of this happening. I think during pregnancy, I believe it's around 40 to 65% of women do get incontinence for either way. And so, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the comment section. So you want to build up as much as possible. So you can do things, obviously, like pelvic floor, things like Pilates is really good for it. And then you've got Kegels. If any of you guys know what Kegels are, they're like little balls you stick up your vagina and you hold it in. And then like basically like weightlifting, you get a heavier one and stick that in. And when you can master that one, you get a heavier one and stick that in, right? And they get smaller and smaller and smaller. So you basically hypertrophy the muscles to make them bigger and stronger. And I've heard also increases sex, chance of orgasm and pleasure, basically, guys. So we'll get some Kegels. Let's go buy one, get them free. So depending on the answer is the way to decrease pressure on pelvic floor. So things like, as long as you're doing things safely and you've got good form, you should be fine. You can, well, first of all, make sure that you're breathing properly, you're not holding breath too much. Think about bracing your core. So the key cue that I say to people when I say about bracing your core is, imagine if I was going to punch you in the stomach, you'd be like, oh, like that. That's going to do your core. And then like for your pelvic floor, you see me thinking here because I'm practicing. For your pelvic floor, you got to think about like if you need to wee, you just got to like hold it in, that kind of thing. That's going to work it. Suck everything up and then release, suck everything up, release. That's going to work that as well. But yeah, when you're doing it, have good form and breathe properly throughout it. Things you can do to decrease the chances, though, aside from those two, are lower the amount of volume. So this doesn't mean weight. So say you could do 100 kilograms for 8, right? That is your max capacity. You could just either do 60 kilograms for 8, or you could do 100 kilograms for 6, for example. Can you see? So you've still got some in the tank. You're not pushing too much pressure through yourself. So I hope that answers that. Yeah, I think that's it. Anything to add?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
I think it's definitely a bit more your area, isn't it?
Vaginas.
I'd say so. So the next one, following on from the creatine question on Wednesday, what one do you use / recommend? I guess we'll go with part 1.
Yeah.
So that's pretty easy. Creatine monohydrate, and then that's it. You don't need to get anything fancy. You don't need to get creatine monohydrate Super Blast 12.0. They all do the same thing. It's the cheapest, most studied supplement out there. So literally, in the UK at least, we have like My Protein, the
Bulk.
Protein Works, and Bulk.
Oh,
They're all like the cheaper brands that don't have super fancy packaging. You don't have to get it from the shops. You could just,
we've got this one.
you
But
could just
literally,
order it.
we literally went into the supplement shop because everything's in different language, right? Nothing is English here. And we went in and we said, where's the creatine monohydrate? What's the cheapest one? We'll get that. That's how it worked, right? You don't have to get the special ones. You didn't say, oh, which has got the cool lime green or black. No, we were just like, what's the cheapest? Bash it in.
Usually it's cheaper to buy it like in bulk.
Yeah.
Like you get 500 grams, you could say. What's
Uh,
that one?
I don't know.
Yeah, you can get like 500 grams. That's 300.
Oh, this is
300 to
300.
500 as a starter. And then just build up from there, really. You just take 5 to 7 grams every day.
Yeah, 5 to 7. But every day. Every day.
That's it. Part 2. Also, do we still have access to the True Coach app after this week is up?
Yes, if you're a client. If not, no, you don't get that privilege. Yeah, no, so we basically pay for our clients to have access to the group, to the app, sorry, and the group, but yeah, to the app. So if you want access, you need to be a client, basically.
I think that was it. Jennifer's.
Can you talk about how sugar affects hormones? Is it better to eat artificial sugar than real sugar if you're going to have sugar? I've been avoiding artificial sugar, but wondering if that's really important or not. And who, Jen liked that also. Okay, so analogy. Let's say your body is a car. And so when you put in like the best petrol, gas, diesel, fuel, yeah, that's the word. That's like putting sugar, actual sugar into your body, right? So the sugar goes in and changes to glucose, however you want to pronounce it. So the glucose then fuels your body. If you're eating artificial sugars, it's like putting pretend petrol or pretend gas into your car. So it's going in, but the car's not moving because it can't access it, right? So if you continually have too much pretend sugar or fake sugar or artificial, whatever you want to call it, then your body, there's schools of thought, and I think there's a couple of studies that suggest that your body kind of unlearns how to access glucose, how to use the glucose. So you don't want to be having like a ton of it. But on the other hand, artificial has got less calories than real sugar, of course. So for diet, that is better, but have a bit of both. Just don't like.
I think, yeah, that's the quickest answer.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes down to everything you probably would have heard before, but sometimes it's just putting it specifically into context of like this question, and it just comes back down to like moderation. Like you could just have natural sugar if you really wanted to, but you wouldn't really want to just have artificial sugar, like, and that's all you consume, because like Philip said, it becomes less efficient at like metabolizing it. So just stick somewhere around the middle. Just try it. If you like the taste of it, you could definitely add it in. It's not like a super demon. It's not like sugar is bad.
No.
It's just if you have it in large quantities continually.
Yeah, I also think that artificial sugar is sweeter than normal. Like,
oh yeah, it like desensitizes the body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it also, studies have shown that even on a calorie controlled diet, when the food was originally going into these people, there was food in the study, wherever, and they were given the same amount of food throughout the day, then they were given like a drink. So one of them was not artificial, what do you call it? Like diet drinks, like Diet Pepsi or whatever, and the other one was like water or wherever. So the people that were having the the diet drinks, basically, they were eating around 500 to 700 calories more after their drink, like for the rest of the day, than the people that just had water. So if you're calorie counting, that's not really a problem, because you're like, well, I've got to stick with it. But it does trigger that need for a little bit more to like, I just want just that little bit of sugar hit again, right? So just be careful when you're doing it.
And then is it Jeanette
Jackson?
Jeanette Jackson. Is there anything scientific? Is there any scientific truth or info about different body types losing weight differently, i.e., ectomorphs, mesomorphs, endomorphs? Should we be considering this?
Now, I was thinking about this earlier at the gym, because I've got this terrible trait, toxic trait. My toxic trait, guys, is I look at girls and I think, wow, I wish I could have a body like that. And they're always people that have gone from skinny to like built, if you know what I mean. I never look, like this is gonna sound awful, I never look at someone that's been overweight and then lost weight. I'm, oh, I wish I could have a body like that. Like, it's just, I always get drawn to the person that I cannot be, basically. Red flag. You know, it's like choosing the wrong man, isn't it? So I was thinking, oh, well, maybe it's because like my body type. And then it got me thinking into this, but that was just a side thing. Do you want to talk about it?
So I think
Do you want to define them?
it can work in two different ways. So mainly, I think in a weight loss instance where people are asking, what should I do differently? If I'm an ectomorph and I'm tall and skinny,
Yes.
if I'm a mesomorph, you're like a triangle, is it? Pretty sure you're more muscular.
Yeah.
And then an endomorph is just like wide, just all the way down.
An ectomorph is like a hard gainer. People struggle to build muscle and don't really gain weight. Mesomorph is like pretty average, quite average. Got to watch what they eat, but can exercise and put on a bit of mass as well. And then you got the endomorphs who could just got to look at a donut and poof, you know, they gain a ton of weight. So what would you consider yourself, Cam?
Mesomorph.
Would you?
I think I can gain muscle quicker than.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
What did you say you were, Faye?
A mendomorph. A combination of like, I could put on a bit of muscle, but I ain't gonna look at a donut to gain weight, basically. No, I think I'm probably a mesomorph.
Hybrid,
So
are you?
I'm hybrid, I'm special, yeah. I'm probably mesomorph. So it does take me like a little bit of actually you said this yesterday, we've got to be like on it like 95% of the time to see a drop in weight and body recomp. So if you're an ectomorph, if you're a mesomorph, if you're an endomorph, it doesn't matter. Don't label yourself, don't put yourself in these. Be hybrid like me, be special. And the losing weight is the same. Losing weight is just the same.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things you see online, especially I think it's on YouTube ads. There's a thing called V-Shred, and that's really popular. I don't know why. I think more because he makes so much money from marketing of like his programs. Essentially, I think he was the guy that did it, or someone else did it, and they're like, do this calculator and tell us what body type you are, and we'll give you the perfect diet. But at the end of the day, it will always come back down to a sustainable calorie deficit over time. So whatever way suits you to do that is the thing to do. And the easiest way to describe it is like calorie deficit is the destination. You have to go there to get weight loss or fat loss, but how you get there is like the car you take or like the drive, which could be keto, low carb, could be high protein,
just normal
like,
eating a calorie deficit.
All stars of dieting is the car, and you're always trying to get to that calorie deficit. So everyone keeps you on that road the longest is the best one. And ectomorphs, mesomorphs, like if someone's trying to sell you a diet through that, then it's 100% not true. It's just a marketing gimmick.
And it's the same for men and women. Me and Cam have to both do the same, not exactly the same numbers. We've got to do the same thing. We've both got to eat in a calorie deficit or eat less than we burn, or however you want to say that. Eat well, and we've got to exercise as well. It doesn't matter, like Cam will burn more calories in a workout than me, even if we do exactly the same thing, because he's bigger than me. So he burns more calories, got more muscle than me. Tiny little bit more muscle than me, but generally that's how men will burn more muscle than burn more fat than women. But ultimately it's the same road we are taking in our cars. Nice.
It's like analogy night, isn't it?
It is.
Should have called it Analogy Fridays.
Anal Fridays.
We'll cut this part out. What else was I going to say then? Can't remember. You've been too rude.
distracted you. Gosh, hopes up now, isn't he?
When having a busy work home life, is prioritizing sleep more important than working out? Yes, that's literally it. Yes. Sleep is where you regenerate. Like you've been learning, sleep can alter so many hormones within our body, and most likely it's going to decrease leptin, which is what makes you feel full. So if you're if your leptin levels are always low and never regenerated in a way of thinking about it, you're always going to feel hungry. You're always going to want a little bit more. You're probably always going to want convenient food, and that indirectly will just make dieting harder because you're going to be eating more. And if you are calorie controlled, you'll just have a lot more stronger urges. You can handle way more stress. Yeah, just like your cortisol obviously gets to rebuffer, so it's going to go back down. The less sleep you have, the more cortisol is going to raise. And working out does not decrease cortisol in any way. So if you were always prioritizing it the other way around, you'd always be increasing your cortisol and it'd never go down. And then the indirect thing of high chronic cortisol is easier to gain belly fat and harder to lose belly fat, because if the body's constantly in fight or flight, then it doesn't want to get rid of fat. Like, it's not like it doesn't cut it off. It just makes it a lot harder.
Stubborn.
Just makes it stubborn areas. So that'd be, do you have anything to say on that? Prioritizing sleep over workouts?
Kind of, like, because you guys know I think about the consequence, very consequential. So if you don't sleep but you're going to the gym, then the next day when you wake up, you're like, oh my God, I can't bother to do anything today. And then you make bad choices throughout the day, right? So just because you went to the gym, the next day you're tired, you have meal prepped, none of that stuff. You're not very good at making decisions because you haven't refilled up that cup of decision-making capabilities through the night. And so the more you'll make worse and worse and worse decisions, basically. Typically,
I think a good way to send it home is,
go on.
Would you rather concentrate on like 95% of what's going to cause you work your metabolism, or 5%, which is your exercise, or would you rather, what's the other one? So you got, it's the exercise and the metabolism.
Yeah.
Can't remember the other one.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's fine. That was it.
I had a second one, but I can't remember.
Well, you get to home anyway.
But essentially, yeah, if you're concentrating on workouts, you're concentrating on 5% of your metabolism, where you want to be concentrating on 95%.
The big hitters.
If I skip working out and see. So she says like she always feels guilty for skipping a workout.
I will say as well, Amy works nights as well. So she's already got that struggle of, trying to balance her hormones. And then when she's finally able to sleep, now she's feeling guilty about not going to the gym. I think that's a
good compromise.
No, I mean, like, that's a recipe for if you're like trying to keep up all the time. So definitely, even things, we've got clients that don't exercise, and they lose a few stone here and there. So it's about maybe getting your steps in, recovering, sleeping, getting your nutrition back on par. And then, like with our clients, maybe what we would suggest for someone like Amy is to split their workouts up throughout the week. So maybe they do like 5-10 minute workouts a week, or they do 3 minutes 3 times a day, or something like that. Like, there are ways to work around it. You don't have to be at the gym, you can do home stuff, but the priority would be sleep, rest, recovery, food, everything else, exercise, supplements.
I think there's a live in the Busy Women's group, and we did like, what are the priorities of fat loss, like the hierarchy, and like exercise was like at the top, as in like the top's the one of the least important, and everything else was like before that. So have search for that, and that'd be a good one to watch. So the next one by Julie.
There she is.
I used to always get an endorphin rush when working out. I feel like this does not happen anymore. Is there a reason?
I got an analogy. It's actually sad. She's pulling a sad face. Do you guys remember when you first started dating your partner? And it was like, everything was so exciting, and they're so lovely, and you make sure you're like looking lovely, and making sure it's all exciting and stuff. And then, like, fast forward 5 years, you're in your pajamas, you're like, no, you go and answer the door, I can't bother to go and get the takeaway guy, wherever. Like, you're gonna make a on, maybe you brushed your hair, right? You chucked it up, maybe you brushed it, we didn't. Yeah, that's what happens. A little bit of getting used to it, and a bit of thing. Now, what would spice up that relationship? Another guy or girl, whatever. If you want, Well, some relationships have like,
Oh, I thought you meant cheating,
oh no, I mean like, no, I mean like bring someone in.
like polyamorous.
Yes, that's it. Maybe you want to be polyamorous. That's fine. That's cool. Or maybe you do different things. Not sexually. I mean, you can do sexual wherever, Julie. That's up to you. It's Friday, but it could be like, okay, well, me and Cam, we never go and like do an activity outside. Like we go for food and we go to the gym. We don't train together, but we rarely ever do like, bowling or ice skating, or sometimes we go to the cinema. So adding in like a little bit of variety or something that's a little bit different would do that. And I think another focus then would be like, what are you focusing on as a couple? I'm giving a couples therapy talk here, but like, what can you focus on? So, maybe our focus the last like year has been the business. So now maybe we need to focus on having fun, like, and we swap things up. Now, your relationship with exercise is the same thing. As you get used to it and used to it and used to it, your body gets a bit adjust because it's not new, it's not exciting, it's not like woohoo, like we can't have that all the time. And this is why a lot of people drop off, because they're like, oh, it's not fun anymore. It's not fun. Being in a relationship with someone does your head in is not fun either. But if you love them and you want to commit to them, it's got to be done. And then, so also finding different stimulus, doing a different type of exercise, like all of these things, changing the intensity, even changing your gym playlist sometimes helps with that as well. So there's that. And if you ever get the temptation to like peek at someone else, that is cheating, right? I am going down that road now. You got to commit. If you really want to be with that person, if you really want that body, you got to commit, even if you don't want to do it. Like if you want to get sidetracked, just pull it back in. You got to stick to your goal. Didn't think I was going that way, did you?
No, I mean, you kept to that analogy, like you weren't going to let go of it. But yeah,
Committed.
pretty much. So like endorphins is like, I don't know if you class it as a hormone, but it's like a chemical reaction.
Yeah, we covered it in today's thing.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he hasn't seen any of the training, obviously.
It's still on my to-do list, just after Netflix. Yeah, well, I won't say that.
There we go, yeah.
Cool.
Does that answer your question, Julie?
Yeah. What other ways could you do to change it up? I think sometimes you'll find this the most in strength training, because when you're properly strength training, you should be resting longer than a minute. If you're not resting longer than a minute, you're 100% not lifting heavy enough for your body. That's like one indication we'll see, like when we've got clients doing it, we're like, how long do you rest and how slow do your reps look when we get you to film and record it? So that's one thing. So because it takes so long to go through a workout, it's a little bit slow paced. But I find people that do a lot of HIIT, and then suddenly if you always do strength and turn up to like a Barry's boot camp, like they're really popular in London, and it's just like flashing disco lights, your adrenaline gets ramped up, you get loads more of endorphin rush.
Yeah.
So it's like new environment, completely new activity. So it's similar to that, but you do need to stay consistent with what you're doing to see the results. That's the hard point. So you definitely can go seeking it, but it doesn't mean you'll get better results.
And I think we are slightly going off topic here, but one thing that I recommend with clients, because weight loss can take ages, right? If you are 300 pounds and you lose 100 pounds, you might start to look different. If you are 150 pounds and you lose 20 pounds, you will look massively different. So it kind of depends where you start and how long it takes, right? So imagine going from like 300 pounds down to like, 150 or wherever. That's going to take a long time. And it's very easy to get disheartened and bored through that period. So focusing on strength, I think, is a really good way to stay on track. But I think it also does help with endorphins, isn't it? If you know, like, oh, I've got like a 1 rep max test coming up and I need to like boss it. Getting PBs is a really good
If you can move
thing.
yourself out of your comfort zone within your own workouts of your program, like that's another way of sort of re-energizing it a bit.
And also filming it and putting it in the group and other people being like, hell yeah, Julie, you bloody badass. Like that's a boost as well, isn't it? And we all love celebrating each other.
Finding a partner, sometimes doing it with someone like a friend, like that'll make it different. And you'll always compare yourself to them, and you can use it at the start and then meet them again in 6 months and try and beat them.
So me and Cam do. He still hasn't beat me yet, but we'll keep
I
trying.
always lose.
That's why we're still together, and
Yeah.
who knows?
So Bushra is next and last.
Here she is, trouble. Bye, Teresa. Good luck.
I know we did exercise yesterday, but can I ask how often should you train? Steps every day on top, I'm assuming as well.
Every day. Train every day. No days off. Go hard, go home.
Is the opposite of what you
Is exactly what we shouldn't be doing, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like everything, it depends. Like, where are you now within your journey? What's your training age? Like, how long have you been training for? Like, if you're an athlete, they can train quite a lot. If you're just a general person, like, you can remember you can lose weight without exercising. It's just like an extra bonus. And the more days you do train, because maybe your lifestyle allows you to, and you have the recovery capacity, or you have like reasonable nutrition, you have good sleep,
Program.
You're not highly stressed, you have good coaches and a good program. Your program would get split up. So there's like weightlifting splits. So if you said I want to train four times a week, you could do like upper lower, and that makes it more feasible than trying to maybe just do everything. Or if you did lower every day, like glutes every day.
So or thighs. What's just thighs are sore. So yeah, so I wouldn't train today. Obviously, if you did it yesterday, maybe I would train tomorrow, depending on recovery. But I've got a client who kind of has fallen off. She's back. She fell off a couple of weeks. She just had a bloody good time, basically. Now she's back. And I said, she used to train 3 times a week. And I said, right, what are you going to do now? She's like, I want to start with 2. And then I can always add on. That's what we're going to do. So generally, we say, if you're doing 1, 2, or 3 times a week, that's a full body split. If you're doing 4, it's upper lower. If you're doing 5, it's upper lower, push pull legs. That's kind of how we go. Sometimes it can be different, of course. Sometimes we do like plyometrics for some people, power days. Sometimes we do like focus on bench or deadlift or squat. We like focus on different things, but generally it's how we kind of
sometimes we do cardio.
Sometimes we do optional cardio.
But like we say, it's not for the calorie burning, it's to build up like
stamina.
Yes, to build up your heart is a muscle within itself, so you want to work that and build it up so it's more efficient. Pretty much.
Not cardio.
So it's good just to like add it in, because you'd even recover quicker. You can reduce like your blood pressure and resting heart rate, which are all good metrics as general health. If you decreased, you would be healthier.
So I think to look at it, it would be, how many am I normally doing? Have I pushed myself too hard and that's why I'm not recovering? Am I sleeping and resting? Am I going for walks generally to kind of get the body moving, to flush out any lactic acid? Am I hitting my protein targets? Because that's going to make you recover as well. Am I drinking enough water? That's going to help you recover as well. So there's lots of things that go into it. But training would depend on how often you can commit to it for the rest of your life, not just for the next 2 weeks, next 6 weeks, next 6 months. Think birthdays, I don't know, where sicknesses, holidays, all these things. If those things come up, would you still be able to train? We want to work at the minimum and then build up when needed. So a minimum of once or twice a week would be the bare minimum, really. And then steps would be
steps you can definitely do every day, if you wanted to. But there's a difference between, like, I don't know, like Gina, she's not here, but when she goes for a walk, she does like 20 to 30,000, and that would leave some people really fatigued and tired.
And time.
So it just, it depends. And everything I think has to be relevant. If you do 2K, do 4K the next week, or even 3K, like that's an increase, that's good enough. You never have to do 10K, because if we did 20K every day and someone says, oh, do the magic number 10K, it'd actually be worse for us.
Not that we do 20K a day. But yeah, this is why our programs are individualized, because there's all these extra factors that we've got to think about as well. And so for Amy, who's a night shift worker, hers would be different to Julie's, who gets up about like 4, to Samantha, who works up from home, to Hannah, who works out at the gym, and Rachel, who's got a kid, like baby. So everyone's all very different. That's why our programs are written per person. And obviously it's not just the workout program, there's everything in between as well. Susan, So some in menopause, which hormone would be most likely to need to be addressed in order to facilitate fat loss? I understand how weight training, sleep, stress, avoidance can regulate the hormones, but are there any supplements or foods that can assist in the regulation during menopause? Generally speaking, this is very general, as in this is what the science says, but not necessarily how it translates into real life. I will clarify that. A low processed diet is best for everybody in this call, myself and Cam included. Doesn't matter if you're going through menopause, doesn't matter if you've got PCOS, doesn't matter if you've got nothing, no medical conditions. If you're fit, processed carbs will make everything worse. But they are fun and we love them. Okay, so don't cut them out. But if I had to say to you, like, you need to focus on this, that's what it would be. So progesterone. So basically, you know how I said at the end of your cycle, all of your hormones go to crap and you're like, ugh. That's basically what happens. Menopause is like the last week of your period for the rest of your life. Like, that's the way it's been described. That's the way I've heard it be described. So the last week of your period where everything feels like crap, that is menopause till you're out of the other end, basically. So 10 or so years. I'm sure it's not going to be bad, guys. It's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Keep telling yourself, because I do. I'm going to be fine. So progesterone is going to be it. But if you've got low progesterone, estrogen obviously is going to drop as well. And estrogen is really important, obviously, because it gives us that, that risk taking, that fun and all that kind of stuff. When we go through menopause, we lose both of them. So anxiety and depression increases because we haven't got that person going, everything's fine, don't worry. We haven't got the progesterone sister. We also don't have the estrogen sister who's like, yeah, let's go party. So now we've just got like miserable hermit sister. None of us like the outcast. So all of the hormones are important. And then of course, testosterone is the big boss sister who's like in charge. So we've got more testosterone than estrogen and progesterone in our bodies. And so testosterone drops. And that's the one that like gives us the go ahead, let's go and do it, the assertive one. So if we lose all that, then we need to make sure we are making sure we are doing things to encourage those behaviors. So it's not necessarily about like weight loss, I guess, I'm not talking about. But then it does translate across that, because if you're staying in the house because you're depressed, you're not going to be getting steps, you're not being seeing friends, you're not being healthy, you're not choosing to eat good food, probably not eating food. So all of them have places. There's not really one hormone that needs to be regulated, because they're all irregular at that point, I think. Yeah. And estrogen, let me think how to put this now. So estrogen, when it's like being metabolized, it uses up, am I saying this right now, Cam? Do you know what I'm talking about?
It uses fat, and that's why it's still.
Yeah, it uses up fat. So because this is why fat's really important for women as well, right? So if you now don't have estrogen, fat is now going to be, it's going to find somewhere else to stay in the body because it's not being used up by estrogen anymore. So this is another reason why it's hard to lose weight and lose fat, I should say, as a woman going through menopause. And that was before your period as well, because your progesterone and everything's dropped. So that's the same kind of answer. So the supplements that will help are
Probably magnesium, you could say, is one.
Zinc.
Magnesium and zinc. Magnesium is going to help you sleep, and sleep's already going to be harder from like hot flashes. So if you can increase your sleep in any way possible, I would take it. And that's probably like, again, it's like the biggest regulation.
Be careful, though, because people will take melatonin and stuff, and we don't want to be encouraging that, do we?
Yeah, melatonin is like an artificial hormone of an actual hormone, so you don't need to increase that. But magnesium is like a mineral, so you can take that and increase that, and that will increase your sleep. But yeah, you don't want to like artificially increase your sleep.
Yeah, you don't want to be taking anything that your body already
has
makes.
or makes.
Yeah. And then foods, like I say, just decrease your processed foods, eat more protein.
Yeah, it sounds so simple, but it's harder to do in busy lives. But it's literally the biggest thing you could do. Less processed food means the only way to fill yourself up would be through more whole foods and high protein.
Yeah.
So you'd have more vitamins and nutrients and minerals. You'd have a stronger
immune
system, better gut health.
Yeah.
It does a lot of things.
But it's really boring.
But you can't sell that.
Yeah, so no one wants to buy that. Hey, we're going to teach you to eat vegetables and to eat protein. Oh, I'm like, what? No way. Okay. Butcher says on Amazon 12.50, 300 grams. I think that is the creatine. Someone says, it told me, I think she's talking about the shred. It told me to do carb cycling, but life doesn't need to be that hard. No, actually talk of the devil. The client that I was on about earlier on was talking about carb cycling with her. And so carb cycling is when some days you have high carbs and some days you have low carbs and some days you have no carbs. And you basically bank, save, and withdraw like a bank, right? With money. So no, it doesn't have to be that hard. But here's the big but here. If you are on your menstrual cycles, carb cycling can help. If you have got a menstrual cycle.
I think it's like loose carb cycling, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not like
call it carb cycling.
No, it's not to the gram. It's just like generally fluctuations, I guess, rather than a cycle. But then the only people that would be carb cycling would potentially be photo shoot people closer to the time.
Yeah.
Potentially. We did it. Okay. I did. I was the one that struggled. I was the one that was committed. It makes me feel better myself. So okay, we spoke about that.
Is that everyone's questions?
I think so.
I think that's everything.
Just going to check one more time on this in case.
So does anyone have any questions based upon what has been said or anything else? Because
in the last 5 whole days.
Because they've just remembered. So you can either unmute or write it in the chat box.
Rachel, we answered your question. I don't know if you were here at the time though.
I don't think she was.
That's it then. We've answered them all. There we go, guys. Is there anything else you guys need to know or you think would be helpful? Moving forward, is there anything we've missed? Anything? Oh yeah, there was like that missing piece in this course or anything like that? Or do you think we've kind of hit? Obviously, we haven't gone into like real depth. We've just gone on to the stuff that you need to know. You don't need to know how, whatever. The difference between hydrochloride and how that works and TLA and all that kind of stuff. You don't need to know that. But is there anything else you guys would like to know? You just flick through here. Everyone looks like they're thinking. Oh no. It's been really informative and relatable for real life. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, look, Anna's here. Hey, Anna. Munching away. There we go then. Nothing. All right, Tio. So, guys, there we go. That's it. Don't forget, not our clients, because you've got your check. You've got your check-in tomorrow as well, a lot of you. Across the next few days, make sure you get check-ins in tomorrow so we can get them done. Otherwise, you don't have it. That's basically how it works. Okay. Any questions, so let us know. We will keep posting in that group. Keep using it. Keep utilizing us as your coaches for the next few days. And have a fantastic weekend. Ciao, ciao.